And happy Wednesday morning to everybody tuning in to this week's episode of the Harness Players Podcast. And actually, I guess I should preface that a little bit more clearer. So if you're watching us right now, either live or recorded, and you're seeing our faces, then you are catching the Yonkers segment that we're doing here on the video live stream. If you are listening to this on the regular podcast, you're probably already good to go. But if you are seeing us on camera, you should go find the podcast version of this week's show. That'll have the back half of the show, which includes the Wood by Mohawk segment. But without further ado, I'll introduce my Yonkers guest for the week. Mike Pribozie is doing some producing for us there, and he's going to hop in and talk to us about some racing so we can get some more of those Chanel bags behind him.
Yeah, it's been a good month, I have to tell you. I mean, North America Cup was good to us, and why not a little Yonkers especially with this Pick 5 pool they have seated up for Friday.
And for a second week in a row, we have Derick of the DRF Harness with us down below there. And actually, Derick is going to be on track, I do believe, this Friday for this Yonkers Trot Messenger Stakes card.
Yeah, absolutely. I can't wait to get up there. I might be a little bit of a late arrival, since the bigger stakes races are later in the card and there's a lot of traffic in the New York area. But I definitely plan to be up there. It should be a good card with some interesting races.
Well, Derick, maybe some incentive for you to get there earlier is the SOA of New York is having the SOA Member and Fan Appreciation Night on Friday. It's going to be from 6 to 10 round the winner's circle. Peter Vinagli and I will be there doing our show on the Yonkers simulcast feed. And the first 200 in attendance, so Derick, you got to be one of the first 200 to get the free SOA Triple Crown package that includes two $10 vouchers redeemable for food and drinks. We got a variety of international food, apparently some food trucks and food vendors going on the apron. Get a $10 wagering ticket on a horse in one of the two Triple Crown races and an SOA hat. Mike, maybe even incentive for you to take a drive.
Well, you're going to be there, so why don't you grab a couple of them for us and in case we're not one of the first 200? I mean, why not?
Okay, well, then there's also music on the apron. That part you're going to miss out on in the live experience of watching the Triple Crown races. But, Derick, I think that's all I'm missing, right? There's nothing else missing. Oh, wait, the guarantee. We have a $20,000. Actually, you know what? I mentioned this last Monday on the show with Peter, and I should clarify once again. And Derick, you're the good expert to give us this. Seed and guarantee. They're two very different things. And in this case, we have both. A $20,000 seed from the SOA of New York, which, is essentially dead money. It's carryover money, effectively, right? And a $75,000 guarantee on top of that.
Most of the time, I would say the guaranteed number means absolutely nothing. But in this particular case, I think it means something because a lot of the ADWs might even know that there's $20,000 worth of seed money because it's not a carryover, and they only pick up the carryover pools. So there are going to be a lot of people out there who might not even realize that there's $20,000 worth of seed money in here. So there's a chance that we don't reach the guarantee, at least an outside chance. And if we don't reach the guarantee, that means that, you're getting even better odds than you thought you were getting.
All right, Mike, I would say that's generally true for most tracks. I, of course, have to present the other side as the Yonkers employee that I am, but I'd like to say we've done a good job, I think, of promoting it this week. Hopefully a lot of people know the seed's out there. I will agree with some other tracks and other places. I think sometimes it is difficult to know it's there, and that could be a real advantage if there's seed money in there and nobody else does. But I would like to think it's been publicized pretty heavily this week from Yonkers.
Well, if they were smart, all they would have to do to eliminate this problem is just say there's a $20,000 carryover. I mean, it's the exact same thing, and it would be to play the exact same way. Now, it's nice that they put it in there, but that would be the advertisement to show up on all these carryover boards and things like that. 20,000 carryover Friday night pick 5 ends the problem. So just something to think about, maybe something to mention.
I liked what they did with the International last year, where they kind of built it up through the week. They made it a little higher minimum. I don't know that I like $5, but you know what? Even a $2 minimum, you'll get a much better chance of the carryover, and then you'll have the carryover in place there as well. So.
Yep, I can say those are definitely discussions being had again this year. Looking forward to a great international trot week coming up. Really just 2 months away. But we've got a lot of races to discuss on this Yonkers Trot card. So we'll work our way into this. And let's see, we're going to go through the races outside the Pick 5 first. We're going to start with races 2, 10, and 11. And then we'll go races 5 through 9 with the Pick 5. So race 2, first division of the New York Mile. Derick, these are the trotters. So these are the 3-year-old filly trotters. So we've got 3-year-olds on display. We've got the 3-year-old Triple Crown races and the Yonkers Trot and Messenger. And then this is essentially the Yonkers Trot filly equivalent to 3-year-old fillies, 2 divisions of the New York Mile. Race 2 starts us off, and we do, once again this week, Derick, one coupled entry we get to work with this week. They're the August Fonset entry on the inside.
Yeah, there's no doubt. Of the stakes races on this card, this is probably the one that I had the least opinion on. I don't love anyone in here, so I guess it's no surprise that I landed on a horse that's 10-1 morning line. I don't think she's going to end up being 10-1 here, but that's who I landed on. Tactical Lori. I think she's going well since the trainer changed to Jeff Cullifer. She has post one. I think she'll be firing out and be in good shape against a group of horses where, other than Eloise, there's no horse in here that's been winning week after week after week who looks really good. And I have questions on whether Eloise is even going to win in this field.
Yeah, Mike, to be honest with you, this was also, obviously for me, I've already looked at all 12 races for the sake of preparing for the show on Friday that I'll be doing. So even including the other races that we're not even going to discuss, I thought this one was just really difficult. And yeah, I'm curious, Eloise wins the New Jersey Consolation, New Jersey Sire Stakes. Obviously faced a much cheaper group at Philly last time out, but I gotta think that she takes some money. I know the Respect Oak, I suppose, there with the entry, getting 2 quarters the price of one's always good. Fanny Lipowitz from an outside post. I don't know, Mike. How do we end up betting this race? I'm intrigued to just kind of really discuss more the odds than even who we like.
Well, there's lots of ways to play. There's pick fours that are running through this race. That this starts at pick 3. There's doubles here. Especially if you like prices, and Derick likes a 10-1 morning line. That's where you want to use those kind of horses. Is these morning lines that are inflated. You're going to get some value, I think, in the multis that way. And I don't know. I think this morning line is not good. Whoever did this, the entry 8-5. Neither one of them look 8-5 in the race. The 6 coming out of Stallion Series at Pocono couldn't win that race, even though it was 1-9, ends up 2-1 in the morning line. I agree with Derick. I think that Tactical Laura, especially on the smaller track, she fits very well versus these horses. And then Eloise, I think also, to win like that at Philly from the 8 post and you get a huge blowout win. Now, she was 1-9 in the race. Okay. But even still, I like that race. I think that she's improving. She's 8-1 morning line. This board's going to be completely jumbled, but there's plenty of, I think, opportunities in multis to take advantage of this race because the board's going to be, I think, very split as far as odds, and those inflated morning lines can only help you.
Yeah, I like Eloise a lot in the spot, but again, I'm just intrigued. It's kind of. People always say all the time they don't care about morning lines and would happily handicap races on the morning line. And then when they see 8-1 on that morning line and don't get 8-1, then they're going to whine about it. So I'm kind of trying to think in my head that I never saw that 8-1 because I really don't think she's going to be that high. If she is, I'll happily take it. But that's the direction I went. But yeah, again, not a heavily opinionated race for me. I think a tricky group there. Mike, let's go to the other side of the card. Let's go to race 10. That's the 10 or 11, Mike. What do you want to do? What 11 makes
11.
Sense?
Yeah, 11's good.
Let's go to 11. Let's finish the other New York mile division. This is the second division. Another field of 7. This time, no coupled entries. And Mike, Armelina is 3-5 on the morning line.
It probably should be. She got a lot of class. She won 374 last year. Is already at 147 this year in 4 starts. She's 3 for 4. I would look more for trying to find an exacta partner here. And I wouldn't maybe want the 4 Date Night Hanover. Even though she's another one with a lot of class and was very good at 2, maybe not quite so far as good at 3. So maybe the 5 here, Draw the Line, would be an interesting one for Burke, Jingra. Last 2 races have been solid, and she could be another one that's improving. So that would be the way I would go here. I think Armelina looks very tough, so I would be trying to find some value underneath.
Derick, I would kind of agree with Mike, although I will say for the sake of the late pick 4, I did throw in one other horse, the 3 Miss Isla, which, by the way, Derick, you talk to these owners more than I in connections. Miss Isla, is that what we're going with? What's correct? I've heard several things over the years.
I'm going with Miss Isla, yes.
Okay, yeah, Miss Isla was second in that New Jersey Sire Stakes final, albeit at a big number. And, got the trip here over the Yonkers track a couple weeks ago, came over and was well off the pace, took care of things late, got there in the end. And I don't know, I thought worth a try, but Armelina, I think, a deserving, likely favorite.
I really don't mind Miss Isla. I just didn't think that effort was overly impressive last time. I thought she should have drawn off the win by a little bit, and she was basically all out to hold on. I don't know. That kind of, dulled me on her. I'm not really a big Armelina fan, and I'm going to play against her here. I'm going to take a shot against her. I think she obviously should win. In theory, if you're just looking at it on paper, she's going to be a heavy favorite. I really think Date Night Hanover is good enough to beat her. You already mentioned that she has the class. I went back and watched the race she had last time here, which was on May the 20th. and she was just a complete victim of circumstance there. Got away near the back, and just was behind the gapping horse, had to go around that gapping horse. She just had no chance and was really trotting strongly in the stretch. I mean, she's going to need a little bit of luck here as far as either to be able to leave off the gate and get in position or wind up behind decent cover. But I think she's every bit as good as Armelina as far as talent goes. And it's just a matter of whether she can get a reasonable trip. And I know I'm going to get a much better price.
You think she's more a big track horse, though? I mean, I don't know. That's just with her style. That could be. She has trouble getting trips because she never usually gets away very well, and especially on this track, that's not a formula for success.
Well, I will say if you go back and watch that race, I didn't think she was super clean going into the turns. She was maybe a little rocky gated going into the turns, but it was also her first start of the year. So that could be expected. Perhaps even her first start on a half-mile track. I'd have to go back and check whether she raced on a half last year. So I'm kind of willing to. Maybe she probably did. She was New York Sire Stakes, so you would think that she must have raced on a half at some point. I don't know. I like that. I guess the bottom line is I don't love Armelina. I just don't love her, and I'm looking for a horse to beat her. I really thought it was going to be Miss Isla, and I just hated that race last time so much that I just can't make it her. I think there's plenty of speed on the outside of this gate. You got 2 Oki Sponstead horses, and all his horses are fast off the gate, especially on smaller tracks. And you got Yannick Gingras driving for Ron Burke with a horse that left last time. So if you get enough, even if she comes away last, if the 5, 6, and 7 all go, that could make things interesting.
Well, Derick, we'll keep it with you for the 10th race, the Park MGM Filly Pace Finals. This is the Messenger Stake Filly equivalent, so the 3-year-old Filly Pacers here, $90,000 on the line. And, this race is interesting, I thought. I mean, Peace Talks is the 6-5 installed morning line favorite. The 4 Pony Named Wildfire was actually the favorite over this horse 3 starts ago, and in my opinion, it's had 2 pretty bad trips since then, so maybe that's a clue as to where I might be going in this race. But Cam American comes out of that same race at Vernon as well. Fresh Legs was second at Vernon as well on that same day, different race in the New York Sire Stakes. So several of these horses have seen each other in recent times.
Yeah, you know what? It's funny because this race I look at completely different than the other one is that I love Peace Talks in here. I think she's a lock. I think she's going right to the front, going right down the road. I think there's an outside chance another one of these horses are going to leave. Cam American, I think, is interesting, as a horse who might try to leave. Obviously, Yannick leaves quite often in these stakes races for Ron Burke. Just finished the neck behind the Peace Talks last time. I could see maybe that lining up, the 5 going to the front and the 2 retaking and sitting 2-5. But I don't see any way Peace Talks loses going back to the half-mile track. Was really good last time in defeat. That 150 mile was pretty darn good. And the start before that at Buffalo was really good. Half-mile track, obviously. I think she's a lock in this spot.
Well, Mike, maybe I'm reading for something. I in addition to Peace Talks, I did take the 4 Pony Named Wildfire. I think I kind of hinted towards it. I mean, I know that Peace Talks sat with Pony Named Wildfire through that 53-3 and 25-4 fractions last time out there at Vernon, and obviously finished off better than she did. But 2 back, there was the interference issue, but that mess for Batavia for Pony Named Wildfire. And 3 back, although this horse was beaten by Peace Talks, was the favorite against it. So at some point, I just kind of expect her to take another step up. And I don't know. I think a lot of people are thinking Derick's direction of Peace Talks is close to a lock in this race. I think the morning line is probably a little high. I think she's taking all sorts of money here. So I don't know. Just going to take a stab against Mike, probably wasting money throwing extra horses on tickets. But,
I don't know. I mean, a couple things about the 4. She is lightly raced, so she's only had 5 starts. She's certainly taken money, has shown talent, and had a wicked pace last time to deal with. Probably is not going to get that bad of a trip this time. Can she beat the favorite? Maybe, maybe not. But you're going to get value in the exacta here if you do like this horse, because I think that a lot of the money will flow through the 5 in that respect. And who knows? I mean, if you think that she can turn the tables and get a trip and beat the favorite, then certainly worth playing. I don't hate the case for this horse, so I don't mind you taking a shot there. That's not a terrible pick.
I will say, Mike, when you say if she gets the trip, that's the next thing I was going to say is alternatively, I'm not really sure what trip she's looking for either. That's right. The other question, or how it's even going to work out. So, if it does line up 2-5, is she coming first up? Is she somebody to cover? Does she even want the cover? I mean, she's raced okay on the front end in the past. That I think is the question marks, but I think the price is right. Take a chance. But what about for you, Mike? Who did you use?
I like Peace Talks. I liked Cam American last year. I was a big fan and won 3 races in 14, makes a lot of money. So I think he's a nice horse, and he's probably the most likely exacta partner for the favorite here. If the 2 and the 4 hook up again, maybe that puts her in play a little bit late. So I like the 5. I do think that, like, you took a price on the 4. I think the 5 might be worth a couple dollars, especially in picks.
Something worth noting, Edison, here, with Pony Named Wildfire, I have no problem with you throwing a horse like this on a pick 4 or pick 5 ticket, something like that, because it's one thing to play, oh, I'm going to take a shot against the favorite and use the second choice. That you should never do. But if you're going to choose a second horse to add into your sequence when you think the favorite looks really good, you got to pick a long shot, someone that's going to give you a lot of value for doubling your ticket. And so from that perspective, if you're going to pick another horse, I don't mind a horse like that.
My question, though, is, and maybe you two are clearly proving me wrong, but, again, I know it's not simple just looking at past results, but Cam American was longer priced than Pony Named Wildfire last time out. I don't know, at least for me, I'm very forgiving of the fact that Pony Named Wildfire in her 5th career start went 25-4, 53-3. So the public thinks that way. Could she be the second choice?
You're putting too much value into what other people think and not enough value into what you think.
I'm just saying, I think there's a universe where she could be the second choice, though, unfortunately. But you all seem like Cam American. Let's keep going that direction. Hopefully money flows that way, too. But, all right, let's spend rest of our time here on the pick 5. So race 5 kicks us off. We've got a great sequence here. Again, the $20,000 seed money added by the SOA of New York. Look at that. Mike Pribozie's got everything we need right there on that graphic. And $75,000 guaranteed pool races 5 through 9, races 7 and 8. Those big stakes races, part of the Triple Crown series. But race 5 kicks us off. Upper level conditioned filly and mare pacers. Mike, how many are we going to start this sequence?
Spread for me here. I thought it's a tough race. Favorite Beach goes to Travis Alexander now. Off a win, draws perfect, I think, is a use. The 2 McAngel drops. Added Lasix last time from the 7 hole. That was just a trip around the racetrack. Has 7 wins this year. So that'd be a use for me. The 3, Pure Silky. Off the claim, was able to win for Baco. Now gets protected. So I don't mind that. Well, in for a much higher tag, in for 72 here. So I think that obviously they wouldn't mind somebody taking this horse. So I like the jump. And then the 6, Lucky Artist. Horses won 2 straight. Those are 2 very fast miles. I don't know what sort of trip that she gets. I mean, she is 11 years old, but she's made quite a bit of money. I think she can beat these horses given the right circumstance. So I was pretty spready here. 1, 2, 3, 6.
Thanks, Mike. You saved my time. Highlight 1, 2, 3, 6. 4 deep. Same as Mike. Derick?
I completely agree with Mike as well, except for I'm not going to use Pure Silky, the 3 in here. I'm going to take a shot and toss that one out so I can go deeper in other legs with, other horses. I think the 1 and 2 are the 2 most logical winners, to me. So if you were looking to key in on 2 horses, Favorite Beach and McAngel make the most sense. I think Lucky Artist, I love horses that are coming off, open length wins who are moving up in class. They often pay a price. So from that perspective, certainly has a shot. But like Mike said, what kind of trip is he going to get? That's really a big question mark.
Well, very similar thoughts from us on that 5th race, 6th race. Hey, Mike, let's go right back to you. You did it again. Let's see, there was that ticket where Ray and I had like the first 4 legs the same at Mohawk. It made my life really easy. So let's see if we can do it again in the conditioned filly and mare pacers race 6, field 8. How about here?
I thought this was a tough race, and I don't love anything in here. I do think that it's probably going to be the 2 or the 3. You have to make a decision on the 3. You might have time. Shipped in. From down under, had a Yonkers qualifier and won. Kicked 28-1, 55 mile there. A lot of these horses show up and make a dent right away. So I like the placement of this horse. I do think I like Brennan on here. I like the fact that the horse showed speed in a qualifier. So I'll use that one. And then the 2 Jive Dancing just gets a much better post, has plenty of back class, and has to be better here. I mean, this horse gets another drop. Eventually, this horse is going to wake up. So I was 2-3.
All right, Mike, we're going dangerously here. 3, 2, 4, 8 are my top 4, and bottom of the page there, 2, 3. That's what I got in the pick 5. So, yeah, I'm always biased. It feels like towards the Australian and New Zealand horses, first-time starters, but obviously the qualifier looks solid enough there. Yonkers looks like some of that recent Australian form was solid enough. We've seen a couple months ago. I don't know. It's always one of those things that's difficult because, in theory, if she ends up like some Australian horses are and New Zealand horses going on this massive win streak starting here, this is probably the best price you're going to get on her. Alternatively, if she, just misses or looks really good, then she's probably going to be shorter next time. So it's kind of difficult to figure these things out. But I'll take the insurance of jive dancing. So 2-3 for me there as well, Derick.
Listen, I think you're both right. I think if they all race as well as they can, jive dancing is probably going to win this race. But, she hasn't been great lately, so there's that going against her. I didn't see the qualifier with Might Have Time. You can't watch the Yonkers qualifiers unless you catch them live, and I didn't. So I really don't know what to expect. I know that 4 wins in 19 starts, 31,000 made, down under is pretty darn good, so I have to respect that horse. I think I went a little deeper here. I also used the one Miss Dutai May, who I kind of respect the fact that the horse has the rail, has early speed, and has a driver like Brent Holland, who's not afraid to, gun out there with a horse that maybe be a little bit better price. And the 4 Supergirl, because this horse is right there every single week. Last time home in 27-3. I mean, 27-3 is pretty quick to be coming home, and non-one is at 12,000. So I went 1, 2, 3, 4, but I might be coming back with a second ticket since you have the 20 grand in there, extra money and $75,000 guarantee. I'll come back with a second ticket using the 2 and 3 alone.
Race 7 is one of our 2 big ones here. The MGM Grand Messenger Final, $225,000 in the line. The first leg of the Pacing Triple Crown. And yeah, Derick, I feel like constructing tickets, that's a part of it for me too, is when you talk about having all that seed money in there, the guaranteed pools, such big pools, it's always good if you can get prices, but alternatively, I think it's important to just be alive at the end to get your payout, ideally. So with that in mind, I'm sure you've got more creative thoughts than me, but for me, I'm pretty boring. How in the Hills, Janelle Granny, 2 of them winners last week. They both look very good to me. I can't really separate them personally. Maybe a slight edge to Howland in the Hills. But again, if it was a regular pick 5, I might be inclined to pick one or the other and cut my ticket cost in half. In a sequence like this, I'm content to take both. And again, probably get creative with paying some tickets, kind of edging a little bit more towards Howland in the Hills than Janelle Granny, but I'll take them both.
I'm going to take a shot against Howland in the Hills and just completely toss him off my ticket. It's a bold move, I guess, in some respects, but I feel like I watched this horse race, and I don't think this horse is super fast off the gate. The horse can leave a little bit. I think the horse will try to leave, but I think he's just okay off the gate. He was floated kind of wide last week, by a breaker, which I don't know. I didn't think it had that much effect. All out to win the race. I'm not saying the horse isn't going to race well and put in a good account, but I feel like for the price I'm going to have to take, I'd rather be on other horses. I thought Janelle Granny was great last week. As to why Tim Tetrick is choosing off, I have no idea. Maybe he made a commitment beforehand that, hey, I'm going to drive your horse, and that's what it ends like. To me, this looks like the best horse on paper. I think this is the fastest horse off the gate on paper. I think he's going right to the lead. I am going to throw a second horse in this ticket. And like I said before, if I'm going to do it, I want to do it with a price horse, and it's Sweet Beach Life, who's the other Travis Alexander horse, not Howland in the Hills. I really think this horse is a big trip threat horse. If Janelle Granny leaves and Howland in the Hills gets looped, and then Howland in the Hills tries to get the lead, pace is going to be reasonably quick. And I think with a horse like Armada Hanover, who's probably going to be first over, could be supplying some nice cover for Sweet Beach Life, who raced really well last time, second by a neck, closing 27-2, start before that, 1 in Yonkers and 53 and change. To me, this is a long shot that actually has a chance if the trip works out.
Yeah, Mike, obviously the joy of handicapping, we all can have different opinions. I think there's a decision to be made with Howland in the Hills, had the interference, got charted with it, did have that breaker, did have to go wide. In my opinion, I thought he had to work pretty hard there in the first quarter, all things considered with everything going on. And therefore, I'm willing to excuse the fact that he seemed to be working pretty hard late to hold on to win that limb. But alternatively, if you think he was just kind of a little short late, maybe it is the chance to totally ignore him and try to beat him.
I think he has a huge chance. Overcame some adversity, still found a way to win, held off the other horse I like, and that's Armada Hanover. And Tetrick obviously likes too, because he's sitting on that horse, and obviously he had his choice. That horse draws very well. If you watch that replay, Armada Hanover was absolutely loaded around the turn. Probably could have moved earlier than he did, and wait to get to the stretch. Just came up a head short. I do think if that was the final, that he would have moved earlier. I do think that he probably catches Howland in the Hills at that point. But I want them both in here. I think that they're the 2 best horses. And the fact that Dietrich shows up on the 1 is huge for me. I mean, that's, I don't know. I mean, the driver politics, but the fact is they're going for 225 and he's sitting there. So I'll use him and How in the Hills. And I don't know what Janelle Granny's going to do. I don't know how that she gets that same trip this time. She could get parked. It's difficult, but I'll let Dietrich do some handicapping for me. And I like this horse anyway. I love that replay. I love the way this horse, probably could have moved earlier. That's one of my better bets of the day. I like Armada Hanover. I will use a little bit of How in the Hills, though, on some tickets.
If I was going to use another horse in this race, I would use Armada Hanover over How in the Hills, without a doubt. My only question here is, was his half-mile debut last time? What kind of trip does Timmy get here? Does he end up first over? Does he try to quarter move around Janelle Granny or whoever's on the lead at that point? What do you foresee as the trip here?
I mean, it'd be nice if he could get some cover, obviously, but I mean, from the rail, I think that's tough. I don't think that first over is a huge issue. The way he was around that last turn last time, and if he attacks at the right point, I think first over is just fine for him. I don't know that that's a detriment, especially if they go crazy early. I mean, the 6 and 4 are going to be involved early. Maybe some other horses are going to try to mix it up. That one punch move, I think, is going to be effective. And that would bring your other horse into play too, that Sweet Beach Life, because that horse made a big move late last time. But so I want to go with the best speed in How in the Hills. I think that's probably, the horse is 6 for 6 this year. So, but I think Armada Hanover, no matter the trip, has a huge chance.
Who's 0 for 6 this year, Armada Hanover? 4 seconds, which kind of worries me.
Yeah, that's true.
We'll say, especially for what it's worth, because obviously we're here on Wednesday. People's opinions are liable to change. If I am much higher on Armada Hanover by Friday, it's probably because we got some more information from Tim Dietrich. And Derick, if you don't have it for us, I guess we'll find out when we get it. But I am kind of intrigued by how he ends up with that choice. I mean, to be fair, good problem to have, 2 great horses. But I don't know. Do we have any no insight?
Here's the insight I have for you. I know that there's going to be a story written by Ken Weingartner, probably coming out today, with Tim Dietrich about his starters in the 2 Yonkers big stakes races. So read that. Maybe you'll find out more. Okay,
so I will caveat, if I sound totally different sitting on a TV set Friday than I do here on Wednesday morning, probably that article had some opinion on me, depending on what he says in there. So curious to hear that when we get around to it. But race 8, the other Triple Crown race, the MGM Yonkers Trot Final, $300,000 on the line. And, Derick. Oh, wait, we already asked Derick last week, so you already know the answers. We can ask Mike. Mike? Last trotting Triple Crown winner?
Marion Marauder.
2016, I believe. Last pacing Triple Crown winner?
Well, Derick said it last time. It was no pan intended. He told us, so I can't.
2003. Okay, so well, at least you were listening. That's
what I listen. Yeah, see, I listen to the shows, even if I'm not on them.
MGM Yonkers Trot Final, field of 8. Mike, situationship. I really liked him in the spot. I still kind of do, but man, he got the unlucky draw with post 8.
Yeah, brutal post. It helps though if you like some of the other ones. It helps the inside prices on the 2. I do think. This is good though. I'm not a fan of how the draw is set up, but this horse took a buy into the race and ends up with the 8 post. What are you going to do? He could be the best anyway. 2 for 2 so far this year. 2 blowout wins in quick time. It's Ock. I mean, his horses are all ready to go, and it doesn't really seem to matter with the preparation. He always has them ready to go no matter what. I would probably try to play against, though. Use the inside too. Security Protected has been very good so far this year also. 3 for 3. A ton of class here again, and draws perfect. Has a huge post edge. So I like that one. And then Sir Pinocchio certainly just finds ways to make money. 3 wins, 3 seconds so far this year. He might not be as classy as the other 2, but he has an edge with the post. He has plenty of speed to get position early. He could be the trip horse in the race. I don't want anything that raced last week. Give me the horses that are the buy horses. I don't need anybody from that elimination last week. There was nothing that made an impression on me. So 1 and 2 heavy on tickets. If you wanted to back up with the 8, I wouldn't blame you.
Derick?
I'm actually going. I love the fact that situationship True Post 8, because to me that just increases his price. Because I really do feel he's the best horse in this race. I never fear on a half-mile track with Oki driving, with a horse that has speed, because I know what his plan is and I know he's going for it. So he'll be flying out of there. And if I can get, 3-1 instead of, 7-5 because he has the 8-hole, that makes me all the happier as far as the win end goes. I'm going to use Sir Pinocchio on my ticket also. I just feel like this is, a track horse. This horse is on a smaller track. He does really well on this surface over and over. He's already won at Yonkers this year. They put the hobbles back on when he races on the smaller track just to make sure that he has no issues. And he rarely does have any issues. To me, he's the safest bet. I just haven't been overly thrilled with Security Protector's races so far this year. I respect the fact that he's 3 for 3, but he's just not a horse that I want as the favorite. And I think he's going to be the favorite here. And I'm willing to take a shot and play against him. I almost rather take a chance with Flying Kronos S on the driver change from Oki to Dexter Dunn than I would on Security Protected at what I think is going to be, at least even money in this spot, I think.
Well, I'm glad we're on the exact same wavelengths here, Derick. Yeah, this is the favorite that I'll take the chance against, leaving Security Protected off the ticket. Sir Pinocchio, post 2, I like him quite a bit. Situationship, yeah, still a top pick. And, maybe you're right. Maybe I should be happy at post 8, just help the price a bit. But, obviously going to have a little bit more work for him to do out there. And, yeah, the other Oka horse, Flying Kronos, obviously you were on here last week, Derick. I like that horse going into the limb. I think Thomas did as well, Look, might not have been the greatest limb ever, but whatever. He found a seat in the final. First start of the year, second start of the year. Chance to take a big jump up at a big price. Yeah, I'll take a chance. So 2-5-8 for me there in race 8. Going to try to beat Security Protected.
The last race, Derick, you asked me what kind of trip a certain horse was going to get. So what kind of trip does Situationship get? Because there's plenty of levers inside here. Is he fast enough to get the front from the 8?
He's going to loop them all. Go right to the front. In my opinion, he's going to loop the entire field, go right to the front. There's not even a question in my mind.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think Mike, always the fun game, I guess we get to kind of talk about with some entries and stuff, and multiple from barn. Alternatively, if they go really, really fast early, he doesn't get a seat, whatever mess happens, it definitely helps Flying Kronos, I think, set up right at some point. So it's kind of a I don't know if it's a win-win per se, but at least that possibility exists if you mess it up front.
Every driver has strengths. To me, Oki's strength is leaving off the gate. He's very good at leaving off the gate. I don't love him when he has to, make decisions during the race when it's tough decisions. But when it's just going to the front, I think he's absolutely great at it. Actually, the article I just saw the article come out with Tim Tetrick. So maybe I'll try and breeze through it while someone's talking next.
Yeah, I got it too. I'm going to do a little reading too. Mike, we're going to let you start while Derick and I do some reading. Race 9, close us out. Race 9, not winner 7,500 on the trot to finish this guaranteed Big 5.
Well, I'm going to look to inside horses here. I do like a price, though. The 4 full rights, 20-1 morning line, gets a far better post. And Trot was at 10,000 last time from the 7-hole. Now you get Tim Tetrick instead of Steve Smith. And I think a better spot horse showed speed on June the 7th and just missed there. I think this is probably a live long shot to throw in the last leg of the pick 5. The 3 Street Gossip is another one. Bad post last time, really no chance. Finally gets back to numbers of 7,500. Raced much better at those levels. If you look back in May, this horse was competitive there. No, not a lot of early speed for this one, but the better post should help him get a position. And then the favorite, Brave by Design. I do think off a nice win. Travis Alexander obviously got this horse from Tyler Stillings at the Meadows. A capable trainer, but obviously not Travis Alexander. Figured this horse out, steps up off a win. It's probably going to be very prominent. So use some 3 and 4 as prices, but Brave by Design, I imagine, will take quite a bit of money in there.
Derick, I'm sure you read the same thing I did. I've driven Armada off and on for the last 2 years for Brett. Tetrick said, I like the horse. I think he's going to get better with age. I thought last week was a very good performance for him. He likes to chase and comes off a helmet really good. Hopefully we can do good with him. So I'm a little bit more intrigued than by him, more than Janelle Grandy all of a sudden. So I have to reconsider by Friday. But race 9, how do you close out this pick 5?
I really like PL Oscar in this spot. I understand that the form isn't great, but to me, this is a pretty big class drop to what he's been facing, over the course of the last few months. I see a horse that's going right to the lead. For a trainer who's, can certainly wake one up in a hurry, and Ricky Bucci. And, to me, this is absolutely 100% the horse to beat. I'm going to use Brave by Design just in case, PL Oscar isn't on the top of his game, because he raced really well last time. And Travis Alexander, obviously top trainer at the track, This horse should come away close. But to me, I think P.L. Oscar's the horse to watch here.
Probably another one where I'll get a little creative with the multitude of tickets I may play. PL Oscar, Brave by Design for me as well. Yeah, I'm also leaning towards PL Oscar more than Brave by Design. But Derick, morning line wise, I think they flipped though, right? PL Oscar's the favorite, maybe.
Yeah, I think PL Oscar's definitely the favorite over Brave by Design. And you know what? I honestly, I don't. We've gone through many of these podcasts over the years where I criticize Mike's picks and stuff. I really don't mind Street Gossip at full rights, especially in a sequence like this when you're getting the carryover and the seeded money and the $75,000 guarantee. These are both horses that have a chance if things go their way. And I couldn't fault either of those horses being on your ticket.
I was not super high on full rights, but Street Gossip is next in line for me. It might get some play on some tickets, but Caveman ticket for me, $48. I think the most I've spent on a pick 5 at Yonkers, but again, worth it with the money and the situation we got this Friday. 1, 2, 3, 6 with 2, 3 with 4, 6 with 2, 5, 8 with 1, 5. Mike.
So 1, 2, 3, 6 to start, 2 and 3 in leg 2, 1 and 4 leg 3, 1 and 2 leg 4, 1, 3, 4 to finish, and probably some A's and B's kind of type plays in there. So
yeah, I'm gonna go with. I'll just kick right in. I'm gonna go $48 as well, which is a big ticket for me, but I think it's warranted with the the amount of money that's going to be in the pool. 1, 2, 6 with 1, 2, 3, 4 with 5, 6 with 2, 8 with 1, 5, $48.
What was calls of yours, Mike? That sounds like a lot. I don't know. There's a lot of numbers thrown around.
No, it's like 54, I think. 54.
Okay.
Yeah, not bad.
Well, it should be great.
I just want to throw in, I mean, with a carryover this large in the $20,000, with the $20,000 seed money and the $75,000 pool, that's probably not going to be the only ticket I play. I mean, we've mentioned it over and over. I'm probably going to come back with, a second or a third ticket as well, just trying to maximize profit on the horses that I like the best in the sequence.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I think we've talked a lot about that. Mike, we might have to do like a specific show segment when we need something, when we just talk about what we mean when we say these A and B tickets and everything else. I mean, I'm sure people Google and find stuff up. We should really do that one day and really flesh out, like really truly sit there and say, here's how we're going to play this. And here's the exact amount of money and how many tickets I'm going to play. But regardless, this Friday's card at Yonkers, great event coming up. Again, a lot of reasons to come out and join us. That SOA member fan appreciation night, obviously with the Triple Crown package, those first 200 people, the $20 in food vouchers, $10 wagering ticket, the free hat, all free to you. Come out to Yonkers that night. Free programs Mondays and Fridays at Yonkers. Again, the guaranteed pick 5 this Friday of $75,000 with $20,000 seed money. We have a $10,000 guaranteed pick 5 every single Monday at Yonkers Raceway. And I don't know, Mike, what else we missing there? The Empire Report is free from the SWA of New York. That's a great handicapping resource. Hall of Famer Roger Houston will be on the mic. You get to see Peter Vinagli and I on the desk down front. That might be the only negative, but
Edison Hanner autograph session.
There you go.
Yeah, sure. A lot of positives to come out, Mike. So definitely should be a great evening of racing.
Yeah, we'll throw some analysis too on whopicks.com, and you can watch if you're interested in the breakdown of the eliminations. We did do a show Saturday, Ray and I and Thomas Svensson. There's some great information there also, breaking down those eliminations. There's some replays, analysis on there. I know we had a lot of time on the pick 5 for Monday, which we ended up hitting, by the way. All three of us had tickets that won, and it paid very well. So if you're interested in the first part of that podcast, check that out also. So plenty of analysis there.
And Derick, you will be joining us on track, and don't want to jinx it, but 2 days out here, it looks like we're going to get some pretty good weather. It's
supposed to be beautiful. The humidity is supposed to be down and everything. I think we should be somewhere in the low 80s for post time. I'm really looking forward to it. And, there's a lot of great content around Yahoo Picks. DRF Harness, you want to go up there, and Matt Rose will have full card analysis for the entire Yonkers card as well. So,
Derick, pound for pound at Yonkers has gone 50 flat, 49-4, and some of these claiming races the last several weeks. Track record 49-3. Could we get there Friday?
I'd be shocked. I'd fall off my chair if one of these horses set a track record at Yonkers.
I'm just still shocked that a $50,000 claim went 49-4 on the front end a couple weeks ago.
Listen, I think this is a good field. It's a very competitive field, as far as the pace goes, the MGM Grand Messenger. But clearly the A team isn't here for this race, unfortunately, and track record is just not in danger.
Well, we'll look forward to a great Friday evening of racing. 7 p.m. first post time, 12 races. In fact, depending when you're listening to this, Yonkers, 6-day racing week. So if you're catching this Wednesday evening, we might be live racing right now. But, if you're watching us right now Wednesday morning, you can catch it this evening. 4 more days of racing this week. Yonkers racing schedule Mondays, Tuesdays, Thursdays, Fridays, Saturdays through the summer months. 7 p.m. first post time every night. EmpireCityCasino.com for the complete racing information and complete racing schedule. Again, if you're watching us on camera, we thank you for joining us. We want to make sure you listen later on, though, to the recorded, posted podcast, which includes Mike Pribozie with the Mohawk segment. And if you are listening to it out there in podcast land, here is Mike with that Mohawk segment.